Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Ullum.
Welcome to Inside Hilltopper Athletics, week 3 of Hilltopper football. I'm Lynn Ullum, Director of Athletics, joined as usual by head football coach Roger Wiley. Coach, trip to Frostburg, Maryland, against a very talented football team. Ended up on the losing end of a 37-7 game. So as always, start with your thoughts.
Thoughts, we didn't make enough plays. I thought, defensively we started getting some stops. Very disappointed in special team play again. And we keep rotating, trying different guys. Fortunately the punt game came together when we moved Brendan Seacrest back to punt the ball. We had 3 consecutive games with a punt under 10 yards and couldn't take it anymore. And so, but offensively, obviously we showed we can move the ball sporadically, but we dropped too many balls in that game for us. And then obviously, teams have been playing us a lot different than in the past. They're going to try to +1 us in the box all the time. And, we're not getting the run game production that we want. And then we get behind the sticks, behind the score. And then you got to go chase points. And, we need to get off to a better start to every game. And, I think our kids play hard. They fight during the play. They play hard during the play, but we're just not making plays. Defensively, if you take out the 3 explosive plays, then we had a pretty good day defensively. But then we decided to miss tackles or not get to the ball, and bad things happen.
Well, we have struggled in the first quarters of game. Mm-hmm. Obviously, if there was an easy answer, we would fix it. But thoughts, what goes through your mind? What adjustments could be made to get out of the gate better?
Well, last week during practice, normally everybody in the country starts off practice the same way. You get through special teams. We went right into team stuff, meaning, we tried to amp up the intensity in practice and make all the competitions, some of the competitions in the beginning. One day we started off with 2-point play, which is basically goal line. So we're going to try various things, to change. We've done things differently this year just to try to get the kids, because our kids aren't reacting the same way as they have in the past. So we've changed up practice routines. The next thing is to maybe change up how we warm up during pregame. Maybe it's too long. Maybe it's too short. But everybody basically does the same thing. I just really got to look at it closer. And we have changed some things in practice. Is trying to, it's not the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over and hoping you get different results. We've tried to change everything we do to try to get them ready and going. And, a lot of things is that we're not handling adversity very well right now, meaning as soon as one thing goes bad, then it just seems like it snowballs and we can't stop the effect. And that's one thing we have to do if we want to be successful.
Yeah, it's so hard. And I think every football coach in America wants to get some sort of balance, right, especially on the offensive side. But you're absolutely right. Once you get down 2 scores, you're kind of painted in a corner. You got to have a sense of urgency, and the games go a little bit quicker. But let's just shift gears real quick. Watching games, I haven't seen a noticeable difference with the clock rules. Your thoughts, or has there been any research this early in the season?
Well, I know the first couple of weeks, Division I coaches were complaining about the number of plays. They've lost about 40 plays, or anywhere from 30 to 40 plays a game. I haven't noticed that much difference on our end, and I guess because we don't have the amount of media timeouts, we're not standing around for. And, and unfortunately for us, we've had to change points, so we've had to play a lot faster than anybody else. And so, I'd like to get in a situation where we can get in 4-minute offense and snap the ball with under 3 seconds left on the play clock. We haven't been in that situation.
What about the media, our show, anybody's shows? we almost always end up talking more about offense. That's just the nature of sport.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone wants to see points. But let's talk about the Topper defense a little bit. And you even referenced this. It looks like there's a lot of good stuff, but when you give up this many big plays in a season, it's going to come back to haunt you?
Yeah, it's more explosive plays, meaning if you, even the other day, people in a row, there was like 3 or 4 straight possessions that we got them to punt, that they weren't going down, that we were 3 and out. And, you know, it's just the explosive plays, and we have people there to make the plays. Now they got to make the plays. And, you know, hopefully we'll continue to grow. But I've seen, and this is where, you know, you want to be brutally honest, I've seen an improvement in our defense from week to week. Offensively, we've kind of gone the other way. Is that, you know, first game receivers did make most of the plays. Now, you know, they're in both the next 2 games, we've had some key drops in the game that have hurt momentum, you know, we like our kids to play with a passion, but, you know, they play with a passion and you drop a touchdown pass, well, emotionally, you go down in the sink. So we're just looking at that level, trying to stay on a level pace and hopefully compete from play to play. And, you know, we are getting good effort, good competition, but now we got to make the plays.
How do we sort out the special teams play?
Well, you just, you know, you still have to look at personnel. You got to look at, and there's more that play. People think, you know, one return, the ball was kicked the wrong, you know, we need to try to pin them in the corner, and we got a middle kick. They had a good return. Communication with the 2 returners, you know, but, you know, unfortunately we had a couple injuries and guys were back there for the first time all year and we didn't get the communication. The guy on the right makes the call. Make the call. Too many of the ball cannot hit the ground in special teams, and that's nothing good happens when they kick one deep and it hits the ground. Well, let it go. And then, you know, one of our smartest players on the team, ball's in the end zone, down it. Didn't know where he was, got confused by all the lines on the field and ran it out. So, you know, offensively we dug ourselves in the hole where our starting field position wasn't very good, but it wasn't to their, you know, we had some bad things going on special teams, and we'll work to, you know, we work every week on special teams, and we probably, you know, in my opinion, probably spend a little bit too much time on it. Last week we were spending 40 minutes of practice just on special teams to try to get them right.
Yeah, you can't leave points off of the board, which has happened with the two blocked field goals and then the punting game was.
Well, unfortunately for that, it wasn't the protection. He just kicked them low. You know, when somebody can jump up behind the line of scrimmage and block, nobody out there had a 47-inch vertical. And so we got to get the ball up in the air. It wasn't like, you know, sometimes you looked at, they get penetration, that could cause, but there was no penetration. We just didn't get the ball up, and we have to rectify that. And, you know, obviously we have the kickers do drills and do different things to try to get the ball up, but for there it wasn't schematically. It was, you know, and it's kind of the epitome of what has gone on this year, just like, you know, in the game ago offensively. It's not that one guy was getting beat. We'd have 4 guys block well, and then all of a sudden look up, one guy had a mistake and we got pressure. And then it was a different guy. It's not the same guy. They're just we're taking turns on not doing what we're supposed to do, whether it's technique-wise, responsibility-wise, and it's the same. It's kind of the epitome throughout the team. Special teams-wise, defensive-wise, we got 10 guys doing the right thing, and one guy misses a tackle, and we're done. And, you know, we've been playing very aggressive defensively, meaning trying to get the ball back, and when you have a high risk, high reward, obviously it's high risk.
Yep. Yeah, it's like any time in any program in any season when things are going south, sometimes it just appears every break goes. If I always quote Murphy's Law, if something can go wrong, it will. So,
yeah. And my big message to the team last week, we got to make our own breaks. We have to force the issue. And we'll continue to try to do that, to make our own breaks, to create our own scoring. I mean, you know, you look at, you know, our only scoring drive, so to say, we had opportunities to score and didn't. But our true only scoring drive came off a turnover. And we had a short field, and that was really the only short field we had all day. And if you look at statistically, teams in any division going more than 75 yards on the drive is less than 20%. Now you're less than 50 yards, it goes up to 80%.
Yeah,
and so we have to create those scoring opportunities, whether it's through defense, special teams, return. We have to get better at doing that.
Well, that's going to wrap up our first segment here. When we come back, it's homecoming week, and we'll talk about this week's opponent. So we'll be back shortly.
Disasters happen. Pick the team that takes care of them all. Powered by offices in Wheeling, Morgantown, and Pittsburgh, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration is ready to handle any size emergency at a moment's notice. We have the right people, knowledge, and equipment to respond 24 hours a day.
I'm Roger Wiley. When disaster strikes your home or business, tell your insurance provider you prefer the restoration company the Hilltoppers call, Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration.
Inside Hilltopper Athletics is brought to you by Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration. Here's your host, Lynn Allum.
Welcome inside Hilltopper Athletics. This is our second segment as we prepare for a huge week on the Hilltop. Homecoming week, always a special time here at West Liberty. And before we get into some of maybe the activities that are going to be going on and this week's opponent, want to remind everybody that Homecoming is officially sponsored by the Alpha Tavern, and they have a series of events starting Friday night. They'll be open Saturday, and they'll also be open for brunch on Sunday. So, official sponsor of Hilltopper Homecoming Week, the Alpha Tavern in Wheeling, and we thank them for everything they do for us. So, Coach, Homecoming Week, I always say when people talk to athletics, like, oh, it's Homecoming Week, you got to be crazy busy. And I always say, I'm only concerned about what happens inside defense. Probably true as a football coach?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's other activities that are going on throughout campus, and even, they have, I forget what, serenades and all those things. Obviously, our players will practice, and then, we'll remind them what's important. It's not as bad. Before when we first started having homecoming, starting on Thursdays, there was a million people walking through the dorms. It's kind of just focused itself to Friday and Saturday now. And so the outside festivities, we're normally not involved with. Nobody going to ask us to do anything. So for us, it's football and business as usual.
Yeah, it's and I will say when the weather cooperates, homecoming here is so special.
Right.
The whole bottom lot here with the tailgating and the tents and the Alumni Association and the Foundation and Student Life and Greek Life and pretty much every organization on campus kind of comes together this week. We get so many people back, and it's not just past players and coaches and staff. You're getting general alumni. So it's been incredible. And what I need to do, and I was remiss for not doing my homework, is to figure out what our record on homecoming is. Mm-hmm. I know there was an article in the Trumpet years ago that had researched that. Mm-hmm. But what's your thoughts in your tenure?
Well, we lost last year's, but I think prior to that we had run 5 or 6 in a row. So I really don't know off the top of my head. I just know we lost last year's homecoming. It had been a while, maybe 4 years, 3 years. But, unfortunately on this level, you don't, most people pick who they want to play on homecoming. We don't have that opportunity. I don't decide when homecoming is. I have no say in it, probably. It's just kind of look at our schedule and, see what dates fall where we can get, I guess, hotel rooms and what we can get off campus. And, we're limited by weeks because of other activities that go on in the area also, as far as trying to get hotel rooms for our alumni to stay.
Yeah, it's That's always going to be a problem, and you are right. And I will even have people that should know say, "Why did you pick this team for homecoming or whatever?" And I'm like, we really don't. We have a schedule grid from the MEC, and we're in the conference play at this point. So you're stuck, and then you got to be at home, and then you got to decide. Like last year, we went late October, which actually was about the most picture-perfect day you could ever have weather-wise. This year, we didn't want to gamble. We moved it up. Next year, we're going back to October. So, but you're right. We don't pick the
right. Well, and that's the same thing with the players, and even the players for the other team. They try to use that as added motivation. They picked us for homecoming. Well, obviously, on this level, I don't think very many coaches pick who, and you can't pick and choose your schedule. Your schedule's handed to you normally in 3 to 4 years in advance. So you can plan these dates. Unfortunately, because of different things that happen in our conference, sometimes we work a year in advance, sometimes 2 years in advance. So then you're really under the gun. We're hoping we get a 25 schedule so you can start working on it now. And not for football wise, but basically for the institution and the administration to try to decide and try to get rooms on hold for everybody else and make sure that everybody that wants to come back has the opportunity.
Yep. So it'll be an exciting day. Let's quickly talk about this week's opponent, Pembroke from the state of North Carolina. What do we know about them?
Well, they're built a little bit differently than Frostburg. Frostburg was a very physical team. They was going to try to get you on the phone booth. They're more wide open. They're a lot faster, I believe, by watching the film. So you're going to see, offensively, last week their quarterback was the leading rusher. He's also the leading passer, obviously. But, they're going to run some options, some, power read, some outside read, and try to give the quarterback a run-pass option more than anything else. Defensively, you're going to see a lot of man-to-man. You're going to see probably a little bit more blitzing, a little bit more exotic blitzing by them defensively. Everybody this year has moved the front, meaning they've stunted on almost every play against us. Very rarely do we get anybody that just tries to play us straight up.
With playing a team that's an associate member of the conference in football, doesn't have name